Okay, so Beyond Reason, and let me give you a little bit of context for the film before I offer any opinions on it. 1970 Australian post-apocalyptic drama film directed by Giorgio Mangiamele. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that entirely correctly. He previously directed a fairly liked or well-received Australian film from 1965 known as Clay. I've not seen it. It was the first Australian film to not only screen at the Cannes Film Festival, but to be nominated for anything, for the Golden Palm Award, 1965. And the follow-up was for Giorgio was Beyond Reason. This is a film written by Oriel Gray, who was a known known screenwriter in Australia at this time, and also one Robert Garlick, who I can't find much information about. But the story was from Giorgio, and he produced it himself and shot the film himself. To read this plot synopsis blurb, which is on Wikipedia here, nuclear war breaks out and the staff and patients of a mental hospital take refuge in an underground bunker and accidentally get locked in. Discipline soon disintegrates, and the patients, led by Richard, start to resist authority. Richard devises a scheme for a new social order where the sane will take no part. The doctors try to resist but are ultimately overcome. And I'd like to read out this production tab and then this release tab. The film marked an attempt by Giorgio Mangiamele to make a more commercial feature than his first, being shot in colour and using professional writers. The budget was raised by private investors, and Mangiamele's camera and recording equipment were sold after shooting to help pay lab charges. It was shot over 3 weeks in August 1968, mostly at a large underground room at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. Release. Although the film obtained distribution from Columbia Pictures, commercial reception was poor. The director expressed dissatisfaction with the final product, saying that, "I had no time to make the images look good. It was shot in a couple of weeks for TV." As for my own opinion on the picture, it's not ideal. It's frankly sloppy and held some value as a curiosity for Australians, as a cultural artifact, although it is an indicator of the sort of vaguely trash material that was being produced domestically at this time. Now, it took, I think, some degree of. I think in 71, there's this big turnaround with Kotcheff, the Canadian, directing Wake in Fright, Rogue from England, doing Walkabout, and I think the game is up, the ante is upped a little bit for us, and then as a result, by 75, you have Weir, Ken Hanum, 76, Fred Schapisi directing really strong, outstanding, world cinema classics from Australia and also by Australians. No disrespect to Rogue and or Kotcheff. Some disrespect to Michael Powell's latter two features in the late 60s are in Australia. Neither of them are particularly good films, which is quite sad to say. Beyond Reason, look, you're seeing it all played out extremely quickly here. If the film seems appealing to you, go right ahead. It's easy to imagine people, oh wow, this looks great, it's going to be a hidden gem, and then be like, yeah, it's boring, it's disappointing. Like, international audiences, as I inferred, might not accumulate much value from Beyond Reason, although at barely 80 minutes in length, I didn't feel as though it was a waste of time. It's going to be a relatively fond memory in future, I like to think. Thanks, everyone.